In the movement that stunned daytime television viewers across America, Hollywood icon Johnny Depp clashed with the veteran talk show's host, the Joy Behar, during a live broadcast appearance that quickly spiraled from the lighthearted banter into the emotionally charged exchange. The episode, which aired on the Bihar's long-running talk platform, is already being described as one of the most dramatic celebrity host confrontations in the recent memory. What began as a routine promotional stop for the Depp's latest project transformed into a raw and the unfiltered glimpse into the actor's frustrations with the media, his career turbulent trajectory, and the fine line between the playful commentary and the personal provocation. Producers had heavily promoted the Depp's appearance on the Bihar's program, billing it as the rare and the candid sit-down, silence, his legal battles, and series of the personal controversies. Depp has been more selective about the interviews. His decision to join the Bihar as host, known for her sharp wit and the occasionally cutting the humor, raised the eyebrows even before the broadcast. From the outset, the atmosphere carried an undercurrent of the tension. Bihar, known for her quick-fire one-liners and unfiltered observations, opened with jokes about the Depp's electric career choices and his reputation. The audience responded with laughter, but Depp's expressions revealed flashes of discomfort beneath his usual charm. The turning point came midway through the interviews when Bihar pivoted to a more personal line of questioning while discussing Depp's resilience in the Hollywood. She quipped, "You have played pirates, mad hitters, and all sorts of the oddballs. But off screen, sometimes I think people cannot tell you if you are acting or just being a Johnny Depp, and that's not always a compliment." The remark drew mix of the chuckles and grabs the audience from the live show. Depp leaned back into his chair, his posture stiffening. After a brief silence, he replied in a low, deliberate tone, "You know, Joy, it's easy to sit there and throw labels around you, and when your entire career is built on the poking fun at the people's lives I have bled for these roles. I have been judged, ridiculed, and dragged through the mud publicity, and you think it's all just a joke?" The studio fell quiet. What followed was the unscripted an eruption that has already gone viral across the social media platform. Depp, visibly agitated, leaned forward and gestures toward the audience and cameras. "For years, I have kept quiet while talk shows and the tabloids turned my life into the punchline. I have been called crazy, dangerous, washed up, you name it, but I am still here, still creating, still giving everything I have to work, and I'll be damned if that it let another host sit here and reduce the decades of sweat and sacrifices into some late night comedy routine." The actor's voice cracked with the intensity, and his usual composed the demeanor gave the way of the raw vulnerability. Audience members shifted uneasily, unsure whether to clap, stay silent, or brace for the further fireworks. The Bihar response: Joy Behar, a seasoned host not easily related, and rattled attempt to regain control of the exchange. She raised her hands in a calming gesture and replied, "Johnny, I respect your talent. Nobody here doubts your dedication, but you have got to understand this is a talk show. People expect a little edge, a little humor. I did not mean to demean what you have accomplished." But the Depp was not ready to let it go. He fired back. "Humor at someone else's expense. Stop being humor when it's their life. Maybe it's the entertainment for you, Joy. For me, it's a survival. That's the difference." Bihar, realizing the intensity of the Depp's feeling, and softened her tone and tried to pivot toward the empathy. Still, the movement had already taken on a life of its own. The audience reaction inside the studio was incredible. The crowd was divided. Some applauded the Depp's passionate defense of his legacy, while others murmured uncomfortably, unsure whether the actor has overacted. On the social media, however, the movement exploded within minutes. The clip of exchange trended on the X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and the Instagram under the hashtags like hashtag Depp's Erupt and hashtag Johnny and Joy versus Johnny and hashtag like Respect Depp. Many fans praised Depp for standing his ground, calling his eruption long overdue, and others criticized his outburst as disproportionate, accusing him of being overly sensitive on a program built around the sharp banter. Entertainment analysts wasted no time discussing and dissecting the clash. From some of the framed as it testimonied that the Depp's fragility after years of the public scrutiny. Others argued that it was a bold, humanizing movement that reaffirmed his authenticity in an industrial obsessed with the image management. Bihar herself addressed the incident later in the day, clarifying that I have interviewed everyone from the presidents to the pop stars, and sometimes things get heated. I never intended to insult my guest. Johnny is a brilliant artist, and I hope he knows that. But live television is the unpredictable, and this was one of those moments. Despite her conciliatory statement, the episodes has fueled the broader debates about the responsibility of the talk show host, the limits of the humor, and the ethics of the probing celebrities about their personal lives. Why this movement matter? Johnny Depp eruption is significant not just because of the celebrity names involved, but because it criticizes the larger cultural tensions. Depp has spent years battling the media narratives often more focused on his private struggles than his artistic contributions. His outburst reflects the accumulated frustrations of a man tired of being reduced to the headlines. Programs like Bihar's thrive on the provocation and the personality driven banter, but where there is a line between the playful teasing and the exploitation of the guest vulnerabilities. In an age where the most content is the carefully edited and curated, live broadcast content that retain unequal ability to capture the unscripted visceral moments that resonate far beyond the studio walls. Industry response on the matter that Hollywood insiders have reportedly expressed mixed reactions. Some believe Depp's eruption could endanger his efforts to rehabilitate his public image, painting him as a volatile. Others argue it underscores his sincerity and may even enhance his reliability to the fans who share his distrust of the media sensations. One unnamed studio executive was quoted saying, "This is Johnny being Johnny, raw, emotional, and unwilling to play by the rules. That's why the audiences love him. Whether it helps or trust him professionally depends on what does next." As the dust settles, both Depp and Bihar find themselves as the center of the media firestorm. Producers of the Bihar program are reportedly considering airing a follow-up episode to address the controversy, possibly inviting Depp back for the calmer, more controlled conversation. Meanwhile, Depp fans have relayed beyond and behind him, flooding the social media with the messages of solidarity and revisiting his past reviewers as the evidence of his mistreatment by the press. Johnny Depp's live confrontation with the Joy Behar will remember not merely as the celebrity's pet, but as the moment when the walls of the polished celebrity interviews briefly collapsed, revealing the raw humanity beneath. For Depp, it was an eruption born of the years of the bottle frustrations and a plea for the respect. For Bihar, it was a reminder of the fine line every talk show host must walk between the humor and the harm. Whether it ultimately damages or that redeems the public, Depp's image remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the audiences will not soon forget the day Johnny Depp erupted on the Joy Behar live, unfiltered, and the unforgettable. So, guys, if you find this video as entertaining and interesting, then you have to subscribe the channel and also have to like the video. I wish you a very good time ahead and good luck.